Welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. And today's topic, the sinister and violent black woman that was supposed to be a mother, but obviously she was a mother in name only, and a very bad one. She murdered two girl children of hers that she possibly may have had more. But in this topic today, she murdered two innocent little girls of hers. Now, at the same time, in this system of supremacy, which is the most awesome mental manipulation force that's ever existed, it has told numbers of black folks that black kids, even the numbers of black adults, especially black males' lives, really don't even matter in this system. And it is something that has been flustered and ingrained and aided even toward numbers of people who have fled from other places, from people that look like them, which makes it even doubly insulting. Now, the thing about it is, it's a brilliant system, since you're talking about the number one culture in America for centuries, who have had the most historical, powerful, of no comparison. Nobody else compares to the powerful history of black Americans in America. For the things that many black Americans have had to go through, the ancestors, the great, great, great ancestors, and etc., have had to go through, nobody else could go through and still survive. But somewhere after the civil rights movement, a little bit after that, very slowly, methodically, the system says we can never have a 50s and 60s in the 50s and 60s civil rights that was supposed to be for black Americans, but then it was diluted to include communities of color, people of color, the mixture of alternative lifestyle categories mixed in, all that kind of the immigrationists and all that kind of stuff. We cannot sit there and allow a specific black cause. We can't specifically black empowerment truly. And so they sit there and made sure to give a lot of false powerness to certain numbers of black women to make them think that they really didn't need a black man. And this is why you start getting to the again, numbers of black women that they don't need no man type mantra that they are ought to been that they have got that stuff from certain numbers of women within the Panamese culture who really can't stand their own men. They really can't stand them. They just tolerate them because the system has handed down quite a number of males within the Panamese culture a social, political, and powerness, right? You can be the poorest of the poorness, but there's still a social power on a situation, a hierarchy, no matter what. And so this system was a brilliant system where they say, hey, black women, you really don't need a black male. You can take care of your little knucklehead kids by yourselves. We will give you child support and all this kind of stuff, and we give you free resources, and we help you out. Even going to the 21st century, where you start hearing all kind of things about specifically programs for black women. Black women this, black women that, but they never tell you which black women, right? You see how this game goes. They like to HELL with the black men, right? The number one most hated group of males in America is black American males. Even though black American males don't commit the most crimes, even though black American males are the most hated by crime stats against black Americans, but still get no hate crime law passed. You see how this goes. So in this situation right here, They've gotten people to say, you know what? You really don't see what you see when you see this particular sinister and hateful black woman murderer of her two innocent girls. You really don't see that. And it has made quite enough people glitch out to say, how dare people think that numbers of black women are not capable of violence, not capable of abuseness to men, their boyfriends, husbands, their children. They say you don't really see that. And numbers of people glitch out. So in this particular story, it is a sad story on this situation, but it is still a needed topic that's of discussion. Because when you look at this deadly eyes of this particular black woman, I see death in her eyes. I see lostness. That's what I see in that aura about her. Because you got bad aura and good aura. She has extremely bad aura. And again, death in her eyes. And violence. Let me go ahead and share my screen on this scenario, this initial video. Give me one moment here. Let me start with this here. Make sure you can see this. Woman arrested. No, this particular black woman was arrested. Very violent black woman, by the way, and sinister black woman. They don't get it confused. Always quite a number of women within sectionality of predominance culture that are very violent, abusiveness, and some other women too. I've done podcasts on that, but this is not the topic of that. This topic today of this particular violent black woman that's supposed to be a mother and murdered her two innocent girls, was arrested on murder charges after two young innocent girls, black girls, were found buried in suitcases. The records show. A quick synopsis of this. Look at this deadly, this very deadly and sinister black woman. This one with just connivingness and mischievousness eyes. But the initial picture was death in her eyes. Police in Cleveland, Ohio said they arrested a woman, black woman, in connection with the case of two half-sisters found buried in suitcases. Cleveland police have not released the name of the person, but they have. This is initial topic post. But records show 28-year-old Aaliyah Henderson was booked into this county jail on Wednesday at that particular time. Today is March 13, 2026, for murder and child endangerment. The arrest comes after two half-sisters were found buried in suitcases and shallow graves. Let me repeat this. The arrest comes after two half-sisters were found buried in suitcases and shallow graves Monday in a field near Ginn Academy in the South Collinwood neighborhood. It's believed they had been there for quite some time. Authorities said one victim is believed to be 8.5 to 13 years old, and the other is believed to be 10.5 to 14 years old. At this time, they have not been positively identified, and they have. I'm just showing you initial part. Neighbors say Henderson lives at a home across the street for where the girls, well, these particular innocent black girls, may their soul rest, were found buried. It was at that home where police took someone into custody Wednesday. This particular person said investigators identified the person of interest while serving a search warrant. Part of the investigation led us to this home. It's been a nonstop ongoing investigation, a homicide unit. They have been working around the clock, this person said. This city council personnel, again, relating to genericalities, said he wants accountability for the person who did this and just for the victims. What kind of monster demon would do this to two children? Just throw them away like they're garbage. No, not here, not in Collinwood. That don't happen. We're not going to put up with that. Such and such person relayed. That's not going. There has got to be justice for these two kids, not two kids, two black young girls on that situation. But look, this is the little demon that did this to those two little innocent black girls. But at the same time, again, they keep trying to tell unfortunately, certain numbers of black American males the ones that don't know, that there are numbers of black women that are not good mothers, that are very violent oriented. How many times now, this is a whole different topic, were you even having more numbers of black women, the one who does this, saying N-word this, N-word that, N-word this, N-word that, B-I-T-C-H this, B-I-T-C-H that. Men ain't ish, right? I don't need no man this. You get the point, right? It's more numbers of black women doing that. It's more numbers of black women who are thinking because they're getting more titles and more resources that the system is allowing them to do over black American men, right? They think that makes them special, and they don't know that they're still being set up. They're being set up for finishing off by this system overall. But then they still expect black American males to put their lives on the line collectively. But they'll sit there and tell you some nonsense about, well, it's not all black women go to Hades. Not playing that tactic. We're not going to play that. So, sharing my screen again. I'll go with this one. Hold on. You know what? No. Let me go with this. Go with this one. New jail video show. Oh, let me make sure you can see this. Okay. And I'll make sure. New jail video shows Cleveland mom accused of unaliving two young black girls. Cleveland black mom, this one, accused of unaliving two young innocent black American girl daughters. I'm playing these videos under a fair usage doctrine.
Well, new at 5:30, video showing the moment Aaliyah Henderson was booked into the Cuyahoga County Jail.
The 28-year-old mother is accused of killing her two daughters, putting their bodies in suitcases, and then burying them in a field. It's a story that has many of you heartbroken and asking a lot of questions.
All right, Janelle walks us through the newly released video.
You're watching Aaliyah Henderson walk into the Cuyahoga County Jail after being accused of killing her own daughters.
May those two little innocent black American girls, may they soul rest in peace.
The 28-year-old setting off metal detectors multiple times at the jail. The video has no audio, but you can see Henderson taking off her shoes before walking through a second time. The scanner flashing red again. Henderson puts her shoes back on before being patted down, body scanned, and handcuffed. Henderson being charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder. The community coming together to remember those girls.
It's a sad situation. And I really can't talk because I get emotional on my mom. It's just unbelievable what people could do to their own kids.
The bodies of 10-year-old Amore Wilson and 8-year-old Mila Chapman were found on March 2nd. The two girls in suitcases partially buried near East 162nd Street.
Look at that. Buried these little two young innocent black girls in these suitcases like this. One not too far from the other. And the extra heinousness and the diabolical and the sinisterness is that these suitcases were by a school. A school. So how many of those kids and teachers were outside and doing whatever stuff and like that, and unbeknownst to numbers of those kids, and they wouldn't know any better in the first place, but to those teachers and principals, assistant principals, et cetera, wouldn't even know that there was 2 bodies of 2 young black girls not too far from the school.
At Midland Avenue in Cleveland's South Collingwood neighborhood. A man walking his dog told 19 News his dog detected the scent and he immediately called 911.
It's devastating.
2 days later, Henderson was charged. This video showing her being led into the jail's reception area and answering questions from Cleveland police. Henderson showing no emotion while sitting there handcuffed.
Showing no emotions. Her mentality was dead. Yes. Her soul was messed up. It was gone. And she was truly a walking dead in her mentality. And so you'll have some people that will be like, because it's when you feel so helpless, when there are numbers of people feel so helpless to say, why did she do this? Who can we blame? Well, you know, the easiest thing to do, you blame a black man. That's been a tried and trueness of a mantra that's been working for the last 50 something years. Blame a black man. Now, don't blame other type of males who commit criminality, who leave their wives or leave their child or children. Don't look at anybody like that. Don't blame numbers of even males within certain sections of Panamese culture who have left their kid or kids, who have done their little stuff, right, away from their wives, right? Don't talk about those kind of things, right? Let's not talk about, I don't want to go into all that, but blame the black males. Blame black males. It's the easiest thing to do, and the system knows it is not enough black American males that are beyond tired or being the blame-goated personnel. They know. All they got to do is say, hey, you know what, black male, you just focus on yourself as well and getting your titles as well, right? You just keep thinking that you are an individual and that's all is an individual black man, and you got some titles or maybe got a couple of nice cars or a car, you stay in a nice place, and hey, man, you've made it. Wrong. I don't think so. Doesn't work like that. But this is how they know certain numbers of black males are, the ones it applies to, with few exceptions. I make this point in going back to blame a black male is because there's somebody will say, well, see, look, where was that black male in there? Because remember, they said 2 half sisters, that's 2 different baby daddies, 2 different fathers. And it might have been another one or 2, possibly. I get to that point according to what I'm about to say. And play this. There actually was a black man, for people might not know, who was saying, look, that he had been trying for a long time to either get some kind of custody or some type of something to be in these kids' lives. Because remember, the system, right, and even quite a number of black women in the society play this little silly tact, and they say black males are fleeing from their kids' lives, fleeing from their wives' lives. You get the point. And they just want to have babies, which is incorrect. It's been a study and studies that black American men actually are the most involved fathers. See, we have to recalibrate this nonsense mentality. Just having a physical corporeal father in a house is not good enough. That don't make you a father. Also, just sitting in the house and you're not being involved with that kid or kids' lives. See, being a father also means if you are primarily in that house, is that you are involved in those kids or kids' lives on that. If that person is not a custodial father, it's still where that kid or kids is knowing that my father, in this situation, my black father, I know where he's at. I can contact him and stuff like that. Regardless, he's in my life in some kind of way, in a constructive way, in some way. Right? And so what is not being talked about is how this black male father was trying to be like, hey, he wants to get his kid or allow him to get in the kid's life, something. And how this heinous black woman, non-nurturing black woman, non-true mother Sinister murderer was evading that. Him. To try to keep away him from being involved. Because remember, it's a trope that black men are not in their kids' lives. See how that trope goes. So they want to talk about black men that be like, what are you talking about? How many men have went to court, paid thousands and thousands of dollars, right? And the woman didn't have to pay nothing. Or she makes up lies or wherever it is, and she's not held accountable like that collectively. Huh? They don't want to talk about that. So let me go ahead and share my screen on that particular part. Because I want to show one more quick video before I get to that. You know what? Yes, I need to show. And come on, give me a second. Let me sit there and show this first. And then I'm going to get right to that point with the black man saying what he's saying and how what he was trying to do to get his kids and be involved in his kids, and how the system had failed to be there, to sit there and hold her accountable according to what he was talking about, and how many other black males feel this way. Again, I'm utilizing this for fair uses doctrine. This is real fast.
We turn now to an update for you. A first court appearance today for a mother charged in the deaths of her 2 young girls who were buried in suitcases in Cleveland. 28-year-old Aaliyah Henderson faces 2 counts of aggravated murder in the deaths of her daughters, 10-year-old Amor Wilson and 8-year-old Mila Chapman. They're half siblings. During the hearing, the judge appointed 2 defense attorneys for Henderson after denying a request from the public defender's office to handle the case.
While this may not be a unique situation for you, this is a unique situation for this court. Yesterday I was approached. This is my 12th year on the bench, and I've never once been asked to be assigned by an attorney to be assigned to a case. This case ends in the number 6. It's an even number. Treating it like any other case that I'm going to assign private counsel.
Henderson is being held on a $2 million bond.
Look at that. That is death in this particular black woman's sinister eyes. That's death. That's uncaringness in her eyes. Now remember, there are many places out there that say, you know what? If for women, there's so many resources. I don't want to go into all that. They say, you know what? If you don't want to deal with being a mother, the kids anymore, blame males, all that kind of stuff, whatever it is, right? You can sit there and drop the kids off at this place or that place, no questions asked, right? She didn't want to do that, right? Now, don't tell him she was getting some type of I don't want to go into all that. She didn't want to do that, right? In her mind, her little twisted mentality, she had her little sinister ways, right? Look at that again, death in her eyes. Now, to get right into the situation with the black male who was like, look, he had been searching, trying to get some kind of way, custody or something to get his kid, his young girl in his life, the way he needed her to get in it within his life. And how, again, he felt that the system failed him. And how many black males, again, feel this way, right? Now, there are some good people within certain areas that do what they do to try to be fair in these kind of things, but there is gigantically amount of pushback in this system who do not want black males to really have equality in those kids' lives. It's pretty bad when it's automatically collectively assumed that the number one person is that, divorce cases or wherever it is, overall, you get the point, is to put the kid or kids in the mother's hands overall, just like that. That's pretty sexist, right? I'm going to all that. So let me go ahead and that's very outdated, by the way. That is an archaic thought pattern, but it's still ingrained in sectionality of the system. And then you say, wait a minute, where is it? Oh, hold on for a second. One moment here. Give me a second. second. Give me one moment, hero. Okay, give me one moment. I'm trying to find it again. Something was going on in the background. That was out my ear on that. Give me a second, hero. God dang it, I got to go back and try to find this again. Some of the background is going on in the background, the system, hero. I'll find it. Give me a second, hero. I got to go back and find it again because I had to close something down. Give me one moment, hero, on that, and I shall find this. Give me one moment, hero. Okay, all right, I got it back, hero. So let me set this direction, all right? And so let me share my screen. And this is the last video. And as you see right here, says a black man, by the way, who claims girl found in suitcase is his daughter, says he begged the courts and CPS for help, and he felt that he was let down. All right. Again, I'm showing these kind of things under fair usage doctrine.
Also tonight, heartbreak and anger from the man who says one of those little girls was his.
Can you imagine? Our Harry Boomer was there for the emotional moment when he came to that scene.
I'm standing here near both of the shallow graves. When I was out here a couple of hours ago, there were very few stuffed animals, but as you can see here and at the other one about 25 feet away, lots of stuffed animals. And yes, Deshaun Chapman was overcome with grief and anger as he comes to terms with the terrible truth. His precious little girl is dead. Her body found right over here in those shallow graves that I mentioned to you. Deshaun Chapman walking slowly in the rain toward the shallow grave where he says his daughter was buried.
I've been looking for my daughter for 5 years. I've been calling CPS, going to the courts, trying to get emergency custody, calling the police for welfare checks, but they denied all access.
The 8.5-year-old's body was partially buried in a suitcase at the edge of a field behind Gann Academy in South Collinwood. Chapman says he's working with police right now to prove he was the father of one.
Now, this insulting part of that, prove what? What, you think she didn't put him on the birth certificate? It's amazing how then it's like, oh, well, you know what, some people now, we got to try to figure out, if, he's the father, wherever it is. You say, what? But then just keep listening, because some is off with that part, right? Watch this.
One of the little girls.
I'm still in contact with the detectives. We're doing the DNA samples, so I get more details within the next couple days.
Chapman says the girl's mother has been avoiding him by moving around a lot. He says the last time he was able to see his daughter was when he helped buy her clothes for kindergarten.
So he was in her life. So then there's a most likeliness that she put him on the birth certificate. I'm just relaying that, right? But then all of a sudden, well, you know what? Hey, you know what? Some DNA tests now and stuff like that. But you got pushback by however numbers of Sister of Chaos members, got numbers of how political, I'm talking about the ones that applies to, because there's some good political figures that saying, no, we need to have some more equality. But how many numbers of pro-woman organizations that are about of having the gold mine of resources because they have a sinister agenda themselves, right? Of being pro-womanism, right? And misogynistic against males, hateful of males, don't want any kind of really involvement of men in the kids' lives. Oh, it's a whole sinister game. You see how that goes. But now all of a sudden I can make that point because there are numbers of people like, hey, they're trying to get DNA automatically done for when the kids are born, right? To make sure. So, because there are numbers of women that are very freaking sinister that have claimed numbers of males or males on a birth certificate or birth certificates, and they find out later on down the road that child or children that this particular woman, or it ain't just some black women, it's numbers of women within the Paname's culture and other different people, the ones who have done this too, And it's like, well, it don't matter. Your name's on the birth certificate. Oh, well. You like, oh, so she can sit there and have sex with however males she wants to and put them on the birth certificate and just claim anybody off and they got to pay child support? Man, some people better wake the freak up on that. But when it's a situation like this, now, hey, you know what? Hey, we want you to prove that, hey, you were the father. You see how that goes. The insulting is right in front of a number of men's faces, the ones who don't even realize it.
Tell me what you're thinking, what you're feeling, believing that your daughter has been murdered.
What I'm feeling is hate. I ain't gonna lie, I feel hate. But I asked you numerous occasions, just give me my daughter. If it's too much for you, just give me my daughter. I just want my daughter.
Seeing where her body was buried, overwhelming. He had to be comforted by a friend.
I don't get how you can hate your own kids enough to kill them.
Look at that. Look at that. One of the graves or that suitcase where one of the little girls was in. But at the same time, you got people glitching out. They glitch out because they cannot fathom who's supposed to be a mother. I can't comprehend. I can't compute how a mother can do such heinous and diabolicalness and sinister and demonic outcomes and consequentiality to these little girls. How? See, you still got numbers of black men once applies to that keep thinking that this is some 1950s, 1960s black women. 1800s, Civil War type of black women, right? Having to go through formal Jim Crow laws, hatefulness by various people within certain parts of Panama's culture. Because many other cultures and backgrounds didn't even exist like that in America. But that's a whole different topic in itself. But how many sit there and benefit off of black pain? It's a whole different topic. Let's continue.
To bury them, to do all this, and go right there to that home, right there, and live there where your kids is dead right here, and go be a mother to another child.
That part. There were some articles I was reading, and I really didn't see anything where they were saying that she possibly may have had another child or children. Now, I'm saying if it's correct what he's saying, that means that she probably has another child or maybe children. So it's a possibility she would have multi baby daddies. Possibility.
Why you just killed your other two?
Now, Deshaun Chapman wants changes to the system he says has denied him a chance to be a father.
Change these laws. Make it better. Men do have a say-so in their child's life, married, unmarried.
But at the same time, they'll be like, hey, you know what? Y'all really don't see what you're really seeing, right? You really don't see that black American men in a collective way are in their child or children's lives, primarily or not primarily. Oh, they don't want to see that part because it doesn't fit an agenda, right? Because there's an agenda that it actually must fit in an agenda to keep people from not seeing black American men are very involved in the kid's life, even though they're all around involved. Right? With few exceptions that are not. Right? See how that goes. See how the game goes. A dastardly game. So may those two little baby girls, those little those little two innocent little black American girls, may their souls rest. And may this particular Sinister, none mother, but mother in category only. May justice truly prevail, and may her soul not rest whenever that time comes. And also may she also go to Hades. I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show.